Hey everybody, it's your boy PB back with another video. Today we're going to be talking about the new manhwa that came out the other day. It's called The Bloodthirsty Bride Devours the King. I'm not going to spend too much time on this video. I know the other past videos have all been like 8 minutes long. I'm going to try not to, make this one that long since, I don't want to make too long of videos for you guys that you guys just, I don't want to waste your guys' time. So we're just going to get right into this and yeah. So this manhwa is essentially we have our main character who is the princess priestess of her king, like her kingdom, the Albu kingdom, so to say. They're currently at war. Basically, they are in this war that they have no real allies in because everybody seems to like want her resource, like their country's resources, and basically they're on this like losing end of the war. And so she decides to herself that she would use a power that in the past the former like priestess sealed away a vampire underneath like the kingdom, and basically to in order to turn the war in her kingdom's favor, she decides that she will utilize this vampire's power, bringing it into her body. And so then once she has the vampire's power, which is the vampire's name is Camilla. She is a vampire progenitor, and so she basically goes to the basically the front lines herself, and using this vampire power, she basically turns the war in her kingdom's favor, forcing the I don't want to say invaders, but the people they are at war with to retreat back across the border, and then they begin to like celebrate that they were able to push back the invaders. However, a vampire's power is seen as something inhuman, something that shouldn't exist, and so she fears that now that people know she has this vampire power, that more people will be after her. She did it for the immediate safety it bring, but it could potentially bring her more problems. So what she does is she goes to the king of like basically the strongest kingdom and proposes that he takes her as his wife, and she promises in return to use her vampire's powers for his sake. And that's pretty much what this comic is. How I believe it'll go is basically their relationship. It'll dive into that. It'll dive into basically her helping him with her vampire powers, him helping her and her people. So it's kind of like this mutual exchange thing where even she goes, first of all, a main point about this is the king that she marries basically hates vampires. So, but since she offered to use it to serve his country, he accepts. But basically, she says to herself, she's like, we had this wedding ceremony, just the three of us. It was in name alone. And, she's eating a lonely dinner, alone on her first night, a loveless marriage type thing. So, it all isn't like, she basically says that she's like, this is what I chose in exchange for power. And basically, she accepts that. She did what she had to save her people. She did what she chose to, like, propose marriage to this king in order to keep her and her people safe. And so that's basically she has accepted her new, like, I don't want to say fate, but her decision. We do see like glimpses of her like not being able to control her power. By the end of chapter 3, our main character, like him, he has blood on him, and she gets a whiff of that. Her vampire powers go crazy. She basically tries to resist as much as she can. Eventually, she ends up, the vampire part takes over, and she starts to drink his blood after he offers. And so basically, this comic, I believe, will be just showing us the dynamic between these two. We'll see, how his detest for vampires affects his relationship with her. I'm pretty sure that this is like a green flag male lead, where essentially, if you don't know what that means, there's a lot of male leads in like these smut romance comics. Yes, this is a smut comic. That are basically just like pure trash, like they're abusive, neglectful, like all the negative things that come about it. I'm pretty sure this is like a green flag, which is essentially a good male lead who he actually helps her, cares about her, and stuff like that. As I said, this is a smut comic. However, it's not like your typical smut usually gonna get. This one I'm pretty sure is not rated like completely for adults because the scenes are cropped out. The white holy light for of the censorship. Basically it gets cropped out. It is censored. But the premise is there. You do get like glimpses of, like, as you can see here. You're getting like the general idea of what's happening, but like nothing's actually showing. And so, uh, if you like go into this thinking you're gonna read it like the smut part for like actually seeing like the sex scenes and like the bodies and stuff, you won't. But nonetheless, as long as, for me personally, I don't really mind it as long as it like like this type of thing where it's like you can basically infer what's happening, so it doesn't really affect the story, in my opinion. I know people don't like this type of censorship and stuff, but at the end of the day, there isn't really anything we can do about it. So that's just how it is. Um, but that's pretty much what this comic's about, the theme of it and whatnot. And so, I would definitely check it out if you're into like supernatural smut stuff or just smut comics in general. Or I'm pretty sure he is a green flag, so if you like green flag male leads instead of red flag ones. And she does seem like more of a dominant person in the way of like she knows what she wants. She does what she believes she has to get it. And I feel like with the vampire powers within her, there are like some chances for like a more dominant female lead in this relationship than like the male lead being the only dominant one. So I don't know. We could probably look forward to some femdom stuff maybe. That's just the hope. But anyways, that would be it for this video. I'm sorry. I know I said I would try to not make it as long, but it happens. I like these comics. I like talking about them. I love sharing them. My love for these comics, and yeah. So if you liked it, leave a like, subscribe. Hope to see you guys keep coming back. Help me grow and start having conversations with more and more people about the comics I love. But yeah, that'll be it for this one. Peace.